Yes. No way. Oh my God.
Very subtle.
Unbelievable. Oh. And he missed it. Oh my God. Ooh la la.
Boom, no chance.
That's crazy. Game, set, and match.
This is too much.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this Australian Open fourth round that will decide who's going to play in quarterfinals against Jannik Sinner, who just qualified in 3 straight sets today against Darderi. A match that is very interesting and exciting between two players I personally really like for very different reasons. Shelton, American, top 10, very exciting player with a huge game, big serve, big forehand, great personality, and Casper Ruud, that is a player that I really like too. He's played already 3 Grand Slam finals, had a difficult year last year, but 2026 looks better. So they're very similar and very different at the same time. In terms of personality, they're really different. One is discreet. I'm talking about Casper Ruud. The other one has a more lively personality and loves the show. One is righty, one is lefty. Casper Ruud righty, Ben Shelton lefty. But they both have similar qualities. I mean, game styles, yes and no. I would say that Ruud loves and is completely okay with longer rallies. Ben prefers shorter rallies. They both run around their backhand a lot. They have huge forehands, both of them. Their weakness both of them is the backhand. So it's going to be in that match a serve battle because Shelton's serve is a huge weapon. And we're going to look at statistics very soon to understand better what this match is going to be about and see what are the keys, the most important keys of that match. Hi to everyone. Happy to see you back for all the people that I've seen many times on this chat. Of course, the serve will be key, the percentage of first serve. And here we go, and the forehand as I just did. So first question between Shelton and Ruud, who will win the forehand battle? And let's look at their figures. So Ruud has played 34% of his forehands from his backhand corner. As I said, he's a player that runs around the backhand a lot and is very, very fast to move around the backhand. And Shelton has played 24% of his forehands from the backhand corner. So they both do it. Ruud does it even more because he needs to dictate with his forehand. And both, once they hit a forehand on the backhand side, they're unpredictable, which means that they equally play inside in and inside out. That's what makes their forehand so dangerous. That's not the only thing, obviously. They're also extremely efficient, but they really mix the zones extremely well. So it's very difficult for the opponent to guess, to anticipate what it's going to be, where the forehand is going to go. Let's look at the second page. I have already a few questions. And Casper won his service game. Leads 1-0 with a lot of struggle and already had to save a break point. Okay, the second key is the serve, as you can imagine, serve +1. And the fact that Casper will try to make the points longer because Shelton wins 81% of points on his first serve. In that tournament, 66% on his second. That's huge. And something to look at also is the directions, because 80% of the point, he wins 90% of the points when he's serving wide on deuce. So this one, and 90% when he's serving T on ad. And that's also because his slice serve as a lefty is extremely efficient. So he pushes the opponent to anticipate and move a little bit to the left, and then it opens the T side. And when he hits the T, most of the time he goes with full power, 30 kilometers per hour. And that's very, very efficient. So Casper is going to play probably with quite a lot of spin to try to push Ben a bit further back from his baseline and maybe have the chance to get some short balls. One last thing, Ruud is winning 33% of first serve returns on his forehand side and 38 on his backhand side, which means that he returns better with the backhand, but he is way more efficient when it comes to his forehand. In this Australian Open, I feel that Casper is playing really better than last year. I feel there is more intensity. I don't feel any doubt when the ball comes to his backhand. He really hits the ball. So I expect a really good match and quite a balanced match, and a match that will be where both of the players, and that's why I said they have in a way some kind of similarity in the game, are going to try to block the opponent on their backhand, because they both will fear the forehand of their opponent, but also because that's Shelton's backhand will naturally go to Casper's forehand and vice versa. So in a way, playing the backhand of the opponent on the cross-court battle, they have huge chance to win, and also it pushes the opponent to play cross. So I'm wondering how much they're gonna try to avoid that by playing down the line, both of them, on their backhand, to avoid being on the best shot of their opponent and having a lot of chances to lose that battle cross-court. Shelton a little bit more comfortable on his serve than Casper for the moment, and I personally really like both of them as people. They're really great guys. We're going to see more unforced errors probably for Shelton than for Ruud, because, and that's something that Ben needs to work on and improve to get to the really to the top of the game, is his footwork that is a bit approximative. It's not very precise, and too many times he hits his shots not being in a very good position, and that leads, and because he's hitting also the ball so hard, that leads to unforced errors that are, I wouldn't say easy to avoid, but avoidable, and would be avoided if his footwork would be better. The famous T-serve on outside, this one was out, but 224 kilometers per hour. That's a real bomb. And a double fault. He served and volley on second serve, taking a huge risk on second. That led to a double fault. Ben is definitely not a percentage player. He doesn't go for percentage. He goes full. I mean, go full or go home. That's really his motto. Now an ace. If he wants again to be at the top of the game, he will have to, improve his shot selection and improve his footwork. And improve his backhand. That's the three main areas in which he will have to improve. I would say that's the big difference between Ben and Casper. Casper Ruud is definitely more a tennis percentage player. His shot selection is really good. And that's the average age per set. Shelton 5, Ruud 3.8. Yeah, and he's way better in terms of movement. And when I say movement, I mean adjustment to the ball. Actually, Casper wants to improve his average number of aces per set, and it just started with an ace. His second service game. A lot of questions already. Let me get into the match and I'll answer you. Another very good serve, Casper. And the match started really well with high intensity and a lot of quality, which makes a difference with the previous quarterfinal that I commentated during the night, between Musetti and Fritz, where Fritz really, really struggled with a lot of unforced errors. I feel that really physically he was reaching his limit because of so many injuries, and also because those many injuries prevented him from doing a good block during the preseason, and he was not well prepared. Lorenzo played a really good match, very solid, mixing a lot, playing high, playing low, bringing a lot of balls back. Taylor was really at a low level. if you compare to what he's able to achieve and what he did achieve these previous years. Good service game for Casper Ruud, who leads 2-1 in this first set. Both of the players really entered the match really well, really strong. And I think that Casper Ruud is one of the most underrated player. Nobody really speaks so much about him, but if you look at his results, the past years, as I just said, 3 times Grand Slam finalist on 2 different surfaces, clay and hard courts. This is something. Of course, clay court is probably his favorite surface, but he's able to also play a very high level on hard courts. So far, more difficult for him on grass because of his game style. And Ben is back serving. I see a Casper fan, and I want to see the stats of the match. And so far, 3 aces for Casper and only 1 for Ben. A much higher percentage of first serves for Casper, but more points won for Shelton on his first serve, and more for Casper on his second. More unforced errors already for Ben Shelton, and I don't think this is going to change. And another backhand unforced error for the American in a rally that is a little bit extended. Most probably the longer rallies will benefit Casper Ruud, and he knows it, as Ben Shelton is really, I would say, a sprinter and a power player that loves shorter rallies, loves to punch. Great serve body that generated a short ball from Casper Ruud, and Ben really stepped in a very good way. Another unforced error for Shelton, and I would say that Casper is playing great at the start of 2026. I don't think that Ben plays very well. He wins because he's such an incredible competitor and he has huge weapons, but I feel that he's committing more unforced errors than usual. And again, it's due to his footwork. He's a bit static, and he sets his feet on the ground very early, and the ball is still moving. So a lot of times he's not in a good position. Ooh la la. That was a very short second serve slice. Oh, is it in or out? It's in. Casper was dominating in that rally. He was the one dictating. Ben was only defending, and he ends up winning the point. Casper with an incredible forehand short cross winner. And it's going to be 2 break points already for Casper Ruud. No first serve. That's a big problem in that start of the match for Ben Shelton, whose percentage is really low. Yeah. Good shot from Shelton. Again, forehand downline winner, but the second serve return of Casper was way too short in the service box. Ben stepped in, could hit a winner. For those guys, the keys are first to be able to hit a forehand after the serve, and the second is to be able to be inside the court once returning. Yeah, another missed first serve is at 50%. That's extremely low for him. And a double fault to give the break to Ruud. 3-1 up in the first set. Casper, whose wife is pregnant, and he said, listen, it's my first kid. If the delivery is starting, I'm out. I'll be in the plane straight away and I come back home. I was just wondering, I believe him for sure. He means it when he says it, but if he's in the semis of the Australian Open, is he going to jump still in the plane, or is he going to think? That's great from Ben. Oh, and a missed volley that was not difficult. He had a first ball in the service box very slow. He should have finished. He played on Casper, and then an easy volley that he missed. But the Casper's ball hit the net and went in the service box, and then Ben's volley hit the net but didn't pass on the other side. So love, a real domination from Casper at the start of the match. If you look at the statistics, he's doing way better. Way too many unforced errors for Ben, 11 already after 4 games. And I think most of them are due to the footwork. Even when the ball is short, on his backhand, he's waiting behind the baseline and sometimes loses his rhythm instead of stepping up. Another backhand miss from Shelton on the return, and 40 love, 3 game points for Ruud to lead 4-1 in the first set. Casper, who's one of the only player who does serve differently because he hits the ball on its way up, and where 99% of the players toss, the ball goes high and they hit the ball either at their highest point or when the ball is on its way down. 4-1, sorry, so 4-1 for Casper. But Casper hits the ball when it's on its way up. A few guys did this in the history of tennis, but of course there are not many. The two I can name were Roscoe Tanner, but 99% of people on that stream never heard about him. I guess he was playing in the 80s, and he actually at that time when we were playing with a wooden racket was the guy who was serving the fastest, over 200 kilometers per hour. I think he was the first one to score over 200. And we had a French guy, very good player, Grand Slam finalist, Henri Lecomte, who also was serving with the ball going on its way up. And I think there is another player who's doing that today. It's Terence Atman, another French guy. But if I look at coming back to that match, the data are really in favor of Casper. 8 winners against 6 for Ben, and only 4 unforced errors for Casper Ruud, 11 unforced errors for Ben Shelton. Actually, Ben came to the net only twice, and Casper 3 times. It says everything about who's in control of the rallies for the moment, who's dictating. And also Ben has to improve his percentage of first serve, which is under 50%. And for a player like him, whose game is so much based on his serve, that's way too low. He's usually around 70. Also because he serves his first serve always with a bit of spin to improve this percentage. 15 love after Ben came to the net, and he's going to come to the net a second time. Forehand winner. 30 love. When the first serve is in, there's a world of difference. Things are so much easier. Casper moving very far back to return the second serve, which gives an easy volley to Ben, and 40 love. I mean, I just said that Ben didn't go to the net enough. The last 3 points, he was at the net to finish the points, and he has an 80% success there. 4 out of 5, and the fifth one was a volley almost impossible to miss that he missed in the net. And another good serve, body. 4-2. We went back to 50% of first serves in. Yeah, and both of the players have the same percentage of points won after their first serve, which is way too low for Ben, 67%. Casper Ruud serving for a 5-2 potential lead in that first set. Yeah, exactly the kind of thing that Casper does so well and has to do today is serve to the backhand of Ben. That gives him the time to run around his own backhand and dictate with his forehand. Another backhand mistake for Ben. 30 love. Ben, who started the match really well, but started to make too many unforced errors after that. And again, his percentage of first serve is really hurting him. Another missed return for the love. Casper, who had to face in the previous round a very good server already, Marin Cilic. And Casper wins his service game without dropping a single point. 5-2 for this player from Norway. And I'm going to answer a few of the questions. Patrick, according to you, who's controlling the middle right now from Crypto Basilou? Definitely Casper Ruud. When none of the players have to deal with a short ball, which makes the thing easier, and the rally is starting, Casper is more solid, by the way, way more solid, and is more often the one being able to use his forehand and dictate. And for A. Migliore 13, who was not able to watch the Musetti's match, what can I say on the performance? As I said earlier, Musetti played the match that we could expect from him strategically, and he executed the strategy really well. He played a very solid match, playing deep, playing with spin, preventing Fritz from entering the court as much as possible, and also mixing with a lot of slice. So basically, Fritz was never in a good position to be aggressive, either playing under his hips or over his shoulder. And I think Fritz was physically far from the level that he wished he would be at. I think this whole Australian Open for him was about suffering physically, with fighting with several injuries and a preparation that was not the one that he wanted. But as he said, he spent more time trying to solve his injuries during the preseason than being able to practice. So I think we had a low quality Taylor and a high quality Musetti. So it was logic for Lorenzo to win in 3 straight sets. Shelton 30 love, but double faults again. His third one. And A. Migliore is saying that he wanted to visit the academy for years, my academy, but haven't been able to realize my dream. I love the dedication and passion you always show in every video. An initiative for the sport, thank you very much. If it's your dream, go for it. I think it's a very special experience. You'll be treated as a pro, even though you're not. If you're lucky, you'll see some top professionals. A lot of them, a few of them, but the good ones, some great ones are practicing on a daily basis between the tournaments in my tennis academy. Stefanos Tsitsipas, of course. Holger Rune, even though he's injured at the moment, or Daniil Medvedev also. And you're in the French Riviera, which is one of the best places in the world, probably. A first forehand mistake, big forehand mistake for Casper, who, after a good serve, had a ball falling in the box. And because of not being well adjusted, hit a forehand way out. Hi, Nyapo 86, that has been able to join the live. Thank you for doing so. I hope you enjoy. We're going to live that match together between Ben Shelton and Casper Ruud, which for the moment is a bit one-sided. The Norwegian player is really dominant, much more solid in every aspect of the game. Oh, that's a great serve again from Ruud. Slice serve that is going to be very efficient against the lefty with a 200 backhand who cannot have, when it's a forehand, look at the backhand. I cannot go very far. If it's a forehand, I can go far, and the slice is bringing the player away, so there is a good chance to have a short ball after that. That's what he got, and he killed the rally with a great forehand. And that's a smart also move. Another backhand mistake from Ben, from Ruud. Smart. So on the ad side, he kicks out wide. Yes, to the forehand of Shelton, but then on the second shot, he catches the backhand of Shelton, who has to run to the backhand. It's more difficult to catch the backhand when you go cross-court in a cross-court rally. And another great serve for Ruud, who wins the first set, 6-3. First set for the Norwegian, who so far plays a way better match on every aspect of it. And I agree with some of the comments. It's really because, Casper plays exactly the match we expected from him. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's a good thing with him. We're not most of the time disappointed. But Ben is really under his usual level, which for me is a pattern so far in 2026. As I said, he wins the matches because he's an incredible fighter and an incredible competitor. But I think he doesn't really play well in this Australian Open so far. A lot of unforced errors. If you look at the statistics, I think it's going to be quite clear. These are the stats of the set number 2, and he did already 2 unforced errors, but set 1, 15 unforced errors in the first set, and another one here. I think he doesn't move as well, and especially again when it comes to adjusting to the balls, and that's one of the reasons why he's making so many unforced errors. And the other thing is, and that's more in this match, in the first set, 57% of first serves in. It's way too low for him to. I mean, his serve is so important. He can't afford to pass so few first serves. Actually, he hit less aces than Ruud in the first set, which is not normal as well either. Only 2 serve points. First serve points won, 77 for Ruud, 68 for Shelton so far. This is also not really normal. Thank you, Napo86, for subscribing. That's a very nice way to show your support. We see the 2 coaches, the 2 fathers are the 2 coaches today. Yeah, I didn't think about it. It's true. Brian Shelton and Christian Ruud. And both of them used to be professional tennis players, top 50 in the world. So that's cool. It's the battle of the fathers today. The third one I'm thinking of is the father of Zverev, who also used to be a player and is coaching his son. Thank you, Morofilio, for also subscribing. I really appreciate. Are you from Brazil or Portugal with the name you have? A lot of authority in that service game for Ben Shelton, who is a bit frustrated. Yes, Brazil. A bit frustrated with what he's been doing so far in the match, his performance. And Kevin Court, yes, I'm going to continue live streams after the Australian Open. I really love it. And I also, one of the things I love is to talk about what I love the most, which is tennis and the matches, and also be able to interact with you guys. Now, I haven't spoken STYHXE. I don't know how to pronounce it. I haven't talked about the performance of Darderi against Sinner today, and especially the third set. Serve and volley for Casper Ruud. Swing volley and then volley winner. Hi, Linda. Thank you for all these hearts. Ben serving way better in that second set so far with a 78% of first serves in. It's a big improvement, and 100% of points won after his first serve. And a great forehand down the line winner for the American. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to win that match, first he has to limit the number of unforced errors, and he has to be able to block Casper on his backhand side until he gets the short ball to hit with his forehand down the line. But so far, it's not easy to do because Casper is serving really well, and Ben is missing too much. Another forehand miss, and it's not it's not little misses. Like the ball is 1 to 2 meters out every time. It's a complete loss of control. And the first statistics from my team are coming up that shows the performance of Ben and shows that he's really way under his usual level. So let's have a look at it. First serve win 75%, and his average is 81. So he's way under. His second serve win is average 66% because of the quality of his second serve. He's at 50 today. On returns, he wins usually 54% of second serve with returns. Today he's at 14. Percentage of win after hitting a forehand on serve plus one shot is usually at 65. He's at 50 today. And then in the rallies, so between 0 and 4 points win, which is his best by far, is only at 44%. In the medium rallies between 5 and 8 shots is at 40%. And the longer rallies is only at 20%. Good serve, slice to the backhand of Casper, of Ben. And Casper and Ben again hitting a forehand with his body weight completely falling backwards. Makes a big miss. Again, 2 meters out. Advantage for Casper Ruud. Thank you, Leslin Live and Kevin Court, for taking a subscription. I really appreciate it so much. You're making my day. And while I was saying that, Ruud served another good serve, forcing the mistake of Shelton. And we're going to serve. Ben is going to serve with new balls now. Casper went to change his racket, taking a brand new racket with the... Why they do that when the opponent is serving with new balls? Because the ball is going to go faster, is going to be more lively, and a new racket is clearly strung a little bit higher because you're losing tension while playing. So you get better control on the ball, which you need when the ball is so lively. Another very good serve from Ben. You know, if he's able to maintain his service games with a good serves, because his percentage goes way higher, then it's going to be a completely different match. It's going to be a second serve now. And good second serve down the tee. That forces the error from Casper Ruud. 30 love. Great serve and volley. Amazing volley. Casper can only defend with a high ball and an overhead winner for Ben Shelton so far in that second set. Ben has won 100% of the points on his first serve and 75 on his second. It's a little bit different from what he's done in the first set. Already 11 winners, and I think he did, and only 3 for Casper Ruud. I remind you that Casper hit more winners than Ben in the first set. Yeah, in the whole first set, Ben Shelton scored as many winners as he just did in the first 5 games of the second set. It says everything. But in a match like this, Ben has so much power that I feel it's really much up to him, that match. If we have the Ben of the first set, he's going to lose. If we have the Ben of the second, and if he finds a way to minimize the enforced errors, it's going to be a tough match for Ruud to win. And as a reminder, the winner of that match between Shelton and Ruud would play Jannik Sinner in the quarterfinals. And that's the last match because we have already all the other quarterfinalists that have qualified. The top part of the draw, this is the bottom part of the draw. The top part of the draw, we have Alcaraz de Minaur, Zverev against Tin, Musetti, Djokovic, and Sinner against the winner of that match. Starts to be really exciting. And Ben is still struggling to return Casper's serve. He stays really close to the baseline, but so far doesn't hit a lot of returns in. I think in that match, feeling the way he feels, he should, especially on his forehand, he should play with more topspin, taking margin over the net. He doesn't need to really play fast because he has this, and that's the advantage of the lefties. Their topspin is not only going that direction, so not only making the ball turn, but as they're hitting the ball a bit on its side, the ball turns this way, but also that way to the right. So it's very difficult to run around the backhand. That was also the big advantage of Rafael Nadal. Just a few words about Novak, who looks really locked in that tournament, I have to say. And his nervousness, his angriness at some moments shows how much he believes and he wants it. And it's a sign I haven't seen much last year in the Grand Slams. He's been a bit lucky. He had sorry to say that for the opponents. I never like to be disrespectful, but he had a good draw. He played Martinez, then Maestrelli, who was a qualifier, then Van der Zandschulp, who was a bit injured, and then Mensik pulled out. So I think if you compare Novak in the quarterfinals of the 4 Grand Slams last year and this year, he's never been so fresh physically. And we know how important that is for him. Ooh la la. What a big miss from Ruud. That was the stats of the first set for Shelton. Big volley miss. That was really an easy one for him. And usually he's really good at the net. Djokovic will take on Lorenzo Musetti in the next match. So things start to be really serious. Yeah, and Ben should definitely also improve his slice backhand. But I feel he's a player that doesn't he has so much body weight because he's very muscular and he's tall. So and he's a player that doesn't use his body weight well when it comes to. Oh, we see the number of points won by rally length. Now Shelton is dominating the zero point 0.4, the 0.4 to 4. But of course, the more the rally lasts, the less points you win. Yeah, whether it's at the net. Thank you for the hearts, Linda. Whether it's at the net or for the slice backhand, he plays a lot with the arm. He doesn't really involve the body, and that would make a world of difference because, again, he's so yes. I mean, we all have a lot of weight in our body, and that's a key for everyone. Oh my God, he missed a forehand passing shot. That was really easy for a player of that level after hitting a passing shot to the body of Ruud. Ruud was completely on the other side. He moved early, so this side was completely empty, and Ben hit the net. Yeah, so much. I mean, it's amazing to see a player be top 10 and who can improve so much in so many areas of his game, and that says a lot about the potential of this player. I mean, I have the live win predictor, and it's moving in the direction of Ben Shelton more and more, who's now at 32.9% of chances to win the match. Ooh, and that's a break point for Ben. Ruud played the perfect start with a slice serve. I mean, find a way to push really Ben out of the court, and then the ball came to his backhand. The court was empty, and he played centered. So put back Ben into the point, and now it's not a break point, it's a set point because Ben is 5-4 up, 30-40. Good serve. Oh! And a framed forehand for Casper, who got tight in that game, clearly. And now Ben is back to one set all. His level is back. It's very promising for what's coming next. We're back on a great first rally between Ben Shelton and Casper Ruud. A long rally, won this time by the American. Casper came to the net, and Ben was able to hit a very hard forehand that forced the mistake of Ruud at the net. Casper at the net once again in that second point that he wins. And the win predictor now is close to 50-50. Casper Ruud still has the lead, but 51.8. Yeah, there is a real switch in that match on all levels. Ben back to his quality serving. Ben limiting a lot the unforced errors. In that second set, we'll have an ace now. Let's have a look at the final statistics of the second set. So first serves in, 77-76 for Ben Shelton. I mean, win on first serve, 94% for Ben, 68 for Casper. Win on second, 80% for Ben, 57 for Casper. So it's a huge domination. Very clear. Ben hitting another ace now. In total, 4 aces for Ben, 14 winners for 8 unforced errors. Day and night, and more unforced errors actually than for Casper than for Ben. So 4 winners only for Casper. Increases the power, he increases the speed of his shots. He makes less unforced errors. So, and 100% of points won. 100% of points won at the net. Sorry for Ben Shelton. That's huge. 75 for Casper. So, but Ben went more to the net in total than Casper in that set. It was the opposite in the previous one. So, world of difference. And Ben won 12 out of the last 15 points. It looks like there was a switch button, and the switch button was off, and suddenly he presses the switch button, and then his level goes from here to there. It's crazy. That's what I was saying. I feel that this match is more up to Ben than up to Casper because, and then Casper gets tight. Casper misses the forehand. made a few forehand errors in that second set and start of the third that he didn't do in the first one. And when Casper gets tight, you can see it because his body weight goes fully back. And that's why he frames also. And what is true for the forehand is true also for the backhand. And Ben, that looked like really inside in this first set. It looks more opening. And that's how he plays his best. Good reaction for the Norwegian. 2 aces in a row with 2 great zones. Wow, it's a world of difference. World of difference. Whoa. Ben really pushes so much more on each of his shots. Plays way faster. And even the passing, the volley is amazing. So much more energy through the ball. And it gives us the feeling that the game is a bit too fast now for Casper Ruud. He needs to find depth and height, which he did in that point at 30 all. And he pushed Ben backwards. It's crazy because the win probability now is 51.9 for Ben Shelton. It's crazy how the energy shift makes a big difference. An unforced error for Ben on this backhand. Yeah, so important to know, Ben Shelton in this tournament plays a lot is at stake because 800 out of his 4,000 points, ATP points, are at this Australian Open. So if he loses, he's going to go down to 9 or 10th in the world instead of 7. Yeah, you see how Casper purposely plays higher to move. He feels like Shelton is in my face now. You know, if he's pushing me, he's playing fast. I need to breathe. And he decides to play higher. That's very smart. He's angry at himself, missing that forehand in the net because the 2 previous ones he played so high over the net. He knows he needs to play high and deep because when you play high and deep, you make time for yourself. And that's what I say to players most of the time when they feel, oh, the game is going too fast. I mean, it brings panic. I said, it's up to you to slow down the pace. Play higher, play deeper, you know, and you create time for yourself. Don't let the opponent rush you. Another great serve from Ben. And why Tho 001 is thanking me for being focused on tennis. So many of the TV commentators say so much irrelevant stuff. Depends. Yeah. Some are great. I personally love to listen to Jim Courier, for example. And I come back to what I already said, but I don't know if you guys heard it. It was when there was this controversy on Sinner and the fact that they closed the roof when he was physically dying. So he told a story when he was playing the final of the Australian Open against Stefan Edberg, and he said the hit was brutal. And at some point in the match, and he said it was tough for both of us, but I'm practicing in Florida, and Edberg was practicing during the preseason in London, so I knew this was a better thing for me than for him. And yeah, nice trick shot from Ruud, but Ben 2-1 up in that second set. So at some point, the supervisor comes to Jim Courier and says to him, okay, but we're going to close the roof because of the hit. And Jim answered, well, if you close the roof, you're going to have only one player on the court. And it was a funny way, I mean, it's typically him to say, you close the roof? No problem, I'm out. You have to explain to people that the final is finished. So they couldn't close the roof, and he won in a tough match, but he won it physically. So yeah, I love Jim Courier. I think Leighton Hewitt is doing a great job as well. There are 2 French guys on Eurosport that are doing an amazing. Actually, the journalists, I think they're amazing because they have great voices, they're fun, and also their knowledge of tennis is amazing. But sometimes, yes, you hear stuff that is not as good. Let's say it this way. Okay, let's go to the third set between Ben Shelton and Casper Ruud. I mean, Casper served 100% of first serves in the service game, and he was at 30 all. Already 6 winners for only 3 unforced errors for Ben Shelton in that second and that third set. So he's still on the same basis as in the second. So the challenge for Casper is really high. And I agree with iMumbo, who says that Ruud got tight in his previous Grand Slam finals as well. That's true. I mean, one was a bit traumatizing for him because he played against, in Roland Garros, against Rafa Nadal. I don't remember players being successful in finals of Roland Garros against Rafa. He knew that would be a tough match. And Rafa was his idol, so he really wasn't able to play his level in that match. Yeah, he got tight. Yeah, a backhand mistake from Ruud, who's complaining now, talking to his team. He feels the pressure. He really feels the pressure put by Shelton, who plays deeper, who doesn't miss much, contrary to the first set, and who's way more aggressive, serving way better. I don't know how many points Shelton lost on his first serve in the last set, but I know it's not many, and this puts enormous pressure on Casper's serve, who just hit a double fault, knowing that most probably Ben Shelton is going to be aggressive straight away. Good serve for Casper. Back to 30 all, but both of his first service games in the third set have gone to 30 all. And very good serve plus forehand from Casper Ruud. And I want to answer to Angeleski Nicola, who said that Musetti has often been a regular customer of Novak. Will that also be the case in the quarterfinal? Well, I don't totally agree with that. I think that if I remember well, there were a lot of extremely close matches between those two. An overhead missed from Casper Ruud, who's angry because he's really good at that in general. He doesn't miss much. No, I think Musetti is really, and I remember even a match in Roland Garros that went 5 sets. And at that time, Musetti was not the player he is now. So I don't think it's going to be easy at all. I think also it's going to be a first real physical test. Oh la la, and a missed backhand volley. That was not that difficult. Yeah, they played 5 sets even twice in Roland Garros. Yeah, but I want to stay for a few seconds on that match because that can be really a turning point at the moment. Break point for Ben Shelton. And a good forehand win for Ruud after his serve. The win probability now is 53.4% in the favor of Ben. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Musetti Novak quarterfinal right after this game, which is at deuce. And again, the slice out wide for Ruud, very efficient. And he forces Shelton to make a long run to his forehand and miss. This is an example of non-tennis percentage because Shelton went to forehand down the line winner and he was really far and on the run. But Ruud really on survivor mode on his service games. Again, a very good return that forces the mistake of Ruud. Yeah, he's in survivor mode definitely on his service games, and Ben is really super comfortable on his. So I totally understand why the win predictor goes 54.6% in the favor of Ben Shelton. Great sequence from Ruud. Slice serve on deuce side. Shelton plays back cross court and Casper plays behind him, a forehand winner with a great angle. But the way he moved up to the ball on this one was amazing. And Casper won his service game, being solid at the right time. And Ben back to serve. Yeah, I was talking about Musetti and the match between Musetti and Djokovic, and I think that it's not an easy match at all for Novak. Again, he had a lot of extremely difficult matches against the Italian. Serve and volley for Ben. And it's one of those points that, the few points that Casper won when Shelton went to the net. Stefaru, why you say, unfortunately, we'll have a Carlos Jannik final again? Didn't we have such amazing finals last year between those two guys? Ace for Ben. And also, wait for it. We don't know yet. That's, of course, the most probable option, but there's a lot of discussion about Djokovic being in semis, and then, he's one match away, and potentially also Zverev, but I think the match he has to play against Tin is a tough one, really tough one. If Tin is able to play as well as he did against Medvedev in the previous round, it's not going to be an easy match at all. At all. Yeah, we have some statistics showing the momentum shift between Shelton and Ruud, and there were definitely two different matches. One in the first set, and since the first set is over, we have a totally different match. It's going to come on the screen in a few seconds, and I'll do some commentary about it. 30-all on Shelton serve, unforced backhand, unforced error. My pick for Zverev versus Tin Imambo is, which I am supporting since the first day of this Australian Open, because I think this kid that we don't talk about much is one of the future of tennis, and potentially one of the guys who can be the third guy with Jannik and Carlos. Okay, let's look at the data of the first of the momentum that shifted between those two players. In the first set, from Ruud 74, 68, 67. And Shelton was at 75 in the first set. He's at 100% in the second, and so far 71 in the third. That's one figure, but there are many others that explain the momentum shift. And the others are the number of unforced errors, who drastically fell from being way too high in the first set for Ben Shelton to being really way more under control in the second set, and so far in the third. And we have an incredible rally at the moment between those two guys, a long rally. They are deuce. Ruud exposed himself, playing a forehand inside in to Shelton's forehand, and that's when he lost that rally. That was 19 shots long, which is a very long rally. And it shows the progress of Shelton between the first set and now. You know, he's consistent. He plays with more spin on both forehand and backhand. And so he has way more security in his game, limiting the number of unforced errors. So that's a second figure that explains the momentum shift. Also, way more authority from Shelton, way more aggressiveness from him with less unforced errors, and it's a completely different match now. A few other figures that are interesting. First of all, if you cumulate the statistics of both players, 78% of serve plus one on first serve have been forehands in this match. And in the third set, it's at 90%, but only 34% inside the court. But both players are hitting a lot of forehands, but both of them are not great at taking time away from the opponent, which is something that both Alcaraz and Sinner are doing so well. Another area in which Ben can improve. And before that, we were talking about the quarterfinals, the other quarterfinals, and the fact that I believe Tin is an amazing player, another lefty, by the way. The match he played against Medvedev was a masterclass. Tennis percentage, big time, but dominating the rallies, taking time away all the time. I'm sure that Michael Cheng is doing an amazing job with him. And it's interesting to see that this guy doesn't get any press. Nobody speaks about him. Everybody speaks about Fonseca, who's amazing, for sure. But it's interesting that all eyes are focused on one guy, and zero eyes for Tin so far. Zero eyes for Mensik. Not much. They're 1 year older than than Fonseca. Look at where Tin is. Of course, unfortunately, Mensik got injured in the fourth round, had to withdraw against Djokovic, and he just won a title just before the Australian Oakland, winning Auckland. And the guy is top 20, and he's 20 years old. Ace for Ruud, who's doing a little bit better at the start of this third set. He had to readapt because definitely Ben went from that level to this one. So now Ruud is lifting his level as well, getting used to what's happening, the quality of the game of Ben in this second and third set. Not happy with his forehand miss on this ball. Ruud, of course, there was no reason to miss it. High court level tennis from Melbourne. Why do I think of Michael Zhang? I think you're talking about Michael Chang, American ex-player, top 10, amazing player, top 3 actually, who's starting to work last year with Lerner Teen, and I mean, he was already very promising, but he's fulfilling his promises so far. Oh no, sorry, you're talking about Michael Zhang. Oh, Michael Zhang. Okay. Oh, the one who beat Korda. Yeah. He played an incredible Australian Open, qualified, beat Korda. I didn't know this player before, but there are more and more players that are coming from the universities and doing great. And Shelton is another great example of that. And I see that the transition between college tennis and pros is going fast. Another game point for Ruud, but again, every service game is struggling. Well done, Ace, to come back to 3-all. They're going to change the balls, so both of the players went to change their racket, and Court Level Tennis is saying that these live streams really helps connect the tennis community. I'm really happy about it. Everybody's behaving well, first of all. It's okay to disagree. It's not okay to be talking trash or disrespectful, but nobody is, and I really appreciate that. And I think it's great to have those conversations about tennis and share that all together during the streams. New balls. Not a good news for Ruud, who will have to return an amazing server with new balls. Oh, that was not a good point for both of them. Ruud never expected Shelton to play that easy, very easy volley back at him. 30 love. And I love Brian Shelton. First, he's such a nice guy and so smart. But I love watching him coaching Ben because on his face, you can tell the score. If he's very much like this and very supportive, it's because it's tough. And when he's happy about Ben's performance, he doesn't really smile, but you can see here that internally he's smiling. Another easy service game for the American, 40 love up. I mean, if it continues like this, I cannot see Ruud winning this match. And it's almost always like this at high level. When someone is winning his service games too easily and the other one is struggling, at some point he's going to break. First, because statistically, when someone has opportunities, he has way more chances to end up making them. And second, because the pressure on the one that has to face constantly this situation will get tight at some point on his own serves. Sorry, I made a stop because I was seeing that Casper was complaining to the chair umpire, and I don't know what he's complaining about. Ryan George Jacobs is saying that he likes both of these guys a lot, but he has to root for Ben. For American tennis, I can totally get that. I really like both of the guys a lot too. I think they're both amazing people. But I think that if you think of the chances to win the semifinals, I think that, against Sinner, the quarterfinals against Sinner, I think for both of the guys, it's going to be extremely difficult. But if someone has more chances, I would say Ben, because he can play through Sinner. He can potentially make his service games in an easier way, but still it's going to be difficult. And you see Casper is getting more and more nervous, talking to his box more and more. It's the pressure put by Ben's ability to win his service games so easily. And Casper just missed a forehand that was not difficult for him, showing more and more nervousness. Yeah, but that's also something that we're talking about shot selection. Why did Ben hit a slice forehand on this one? There was zero reason for that. And by doing so, he's giving an easy ball to his opponent who hits a drop shot. Good serve from Ruud, and again, a forehand return miss in the net by Shelton, 30-15. And a backhand return miss now by Shelton. He needs to improve his return. That's another area where he can improve a lot. Another one. I mean, this is incredible. To be top 10 with so much margin for improvement. So much. And a forehand winner on the run cross court for Ben Shelton. Casper, who thought this ball would be out, and it just catches the line. Wow. That's much better for Ben, who for one of the first times had Ruud play a little bit shorter and took advantage of it by stepping in and taking the ball early and going cross court full, and that's a winner. Second serve at deuce. Ooh, and that's a double fault. That's the pressure we were talking about. All the service games are tough to win for Ruud. All of them. Ben is winning his service games easily now, every time. So the pressure is definitely on Casper, and that explains also the nervousness of Ruud, and more mistakes, more tightness, and he's going to have to save this break point on a second serve. Oh, what a second serve. Huge mistake from Casper Ruud on a forehand down the line. You know, happened to be on a very slow and floating slice backhand of Ben Shelton. It just shows the nerves. And we have an interesting statistics that deserves to be on the screen. Here it is. That is kind of counterintuitive. Percentage of forehand played by Ben Shelton. First set, 51. Second set, 60. Third set, 43. Wait, I'm watching. Okay. Forehand mistake by Ben Shelton. 5-3 up, serving for the set. Now Ruud is hitting more and more forehand. So how come the score is going that way? I mean, that was a key, but apparently it's not a key so much so far in that match, because I think that Ben is stepping in way more. So even on the backhand is getting more and more dangerous, which was not the case in the first set. And I think the game is not so much in the rallies, but more on the serve, where Ben is really super dominant. And even though Casper is hitting more forehands, he's under pressure and he doesn't do well. And he made quite a few shocking for him unforced errors when he was hitting the forehand because of the pressure he feels. Exactly. And I would say hitting a forehand for those guys is important, but it's better to hit a backhand stepping in than a forehand being static and waiting behind the baseline. And the case of Ben Shelton, who just created 2 set points for him. In the case of Ben Shelton, I think that when he's static behind the baseline, not stepping in, he's making way more unforced errors, whether it's on the forehand or the backhand, than when he makes one step towards the ball and has more intention. 2 set points. It's going to be a second serve for Ben Shelton. Great second serve. Good return. But Ben is stepping forward, coming to the net, and forces the mistake of Casper Ruud. 2-1 now for Ben Shelton. And since I saw him started to play like this in the second set, I said I cannot imagine him losing that match if he keeps playing with that intention. The win predictor now predicts 83% of chances of victory for Ben Shelton, which is not surprising. And Ruud is 40 love on his serve. It hasn't happened for quite a long time. Now getting the statistics of the 4th set. A very comfortable first game won for Casper. You know, before the match, I think it was quite indecisive, because we didn't know what would happen, who would win, even though there is always an advantage for Shelton because he's so good when it comes to the big matches, the big stages. But I think what we learned from what we're seeing so far is that when Ben is being fully aggressive, stepping in, it's really difficult to handle the pace, the power, the combination of the power and the spin from Shelton. And I think this is not true only for Ruud, of course. It's true for most of the players on tour, and that's why this player is top 10, even though the margin for progression is so huge in so many aspects of his game. And it says a lot about, the potential of that player. We have a good statistics. I mean, it's quite simple, but it explains also why it is that difficult for Ruud in the last two sets. Since Casper is since Ben is so dominant on his own service games, winning, and you can see it now on the screen, double more points on his own serve than Casper. And Casper now is so much under pressure when he serves because he doesn't have any opportunities on his opponent's service games. Sorry, that's the points lost. So Ruud lost 14 points on his serve. Shelton only 7 in the third set. So that's what I'm saying. Shelton is so dominant on his service games that Ruud is under pressure when he serves. And again, a game won by Shelton without dropping a single point on his serve. And this is the momentum shift. This is definitely it. And I would say the two factors that really affect the result so far in that match is one, the quality of the serve of Ben and his dominance on his own serve, and second, the fact that Ben plays. Oh my God! What a passing shot now from Ben, who's really being crazy successful on everything. Hi Camille Bab, first time on the chat. Yeah, incredible pass. This is pure talent. On the run, in a very difficult position, he finds a way to hit a cross-court winning passing shot. Yeah, so first factor is dominance on the serve, on his service games. Oh, that's a big miss. I would be love 30 on Ruud's serve. And second, the pace combined with taking time away and combined with the heaviness of his shots for Ben Shelton. That is difficult to handle for Ruud, who's really taken time away, and when he has a little bit more time, he's such an amazing player. When he's rushed like that, he struggles more. That's why clay court has always been his favorite surface. Yeah, and that's the big question. Who's going to be the third guy if there's going to be a third guy between Sinner and Alcaraz? Is there going to be one or no? It's not a necessity. It's not... completely missed. Drop shot from Shelton. And you see that Ruud is not mentally good at the moment, because on that missed drop shot from Shelton, he should put the ball away, and he doesn't, and he plays down the line on Shelton, gets lobbed. And in a way, he told Shelton what he's going to do, because he ran looking at Shelton, is Shelton going to come to the net or not? Shelton didn't move, so he played a shot under the legs that was going fast, thinking that Shelton was still at the baseline, but Shelton, seeing that Ruud was looking, decided to go to the net. And again, a break point in that second game, service game of Ruud. Shelton putting so much pressure. I'll definitely do these live streams more often, not every day, twice a day like I do at the moment, because it's a Grand Slam. Probably I'll do that during the Grand Slams, but at least once a week for sure, maybe twice a week. I'll do these live streams all year long. If you guys like it, and if you guys want me to do it, I'll do it. That's a big miss from Shelton, trying to go too close to the lines. Was going his backhand to the forehand of Ruud. Thank you, Ryan George Jacobs, to support. And Stefaru made a very interesting comment, and I'm gonna answer you, but I just want to finish this game because it might be also a very important game. We're at deuce on Casper's serve, and Casper double faults. Yes, just another illustration of the pressure he feels. I mean, listen to that stat on the so far on that fourth set. For Casper, 63% of points won on his first serve, 75 on his second. For Ben, 100% and 100%. That's crazy. And the average first serve speed of Ben Shelton in that second set is 216 kilometers per hour. And if I'm not mistaken, it was under 200 in the first two sets. A little bit passive, Ben, on that break point, and that gave the opportunity to Casper to run around the backhand and dictate. Deuce again, and no first serves again for Casper, whose percentage is way lower than in the first set. Second serve to the body, that was smart, and that forced Shelton to make a mistake. He's hitting that backhand completely falling to the side. And no, Camille, I'm not in Melbourne, I'm in Europe. For the first time in 20 years, I'm not in Melbourne in January. Important for Ruud, who found a way to save his service game. Otherwise, he would really be in big trouble, being down 2-1 in a break against a player who is so dominant on his own service game so far. So Stefaru is writing, I think that if this channel would stream non-licensed matches, for example, a tournament or an exhibition at the academy, that could be awesome and unique content. And it could be marketing as well. Well, I think about it. I don't know how much interest non-official matches at the academy would be interesting for the people, but we can try. We have pros who make practice matches. I don't know if they'll be happy to show it. I don't think so, but I think this Twitch channel, and that's why it's interesting, is an opportunity to do things that haven't been done in tennis so far. And I want to explore, because I also want tennis to become super interesting for the younger generation as well. So far, it's really a game that seduces the old generation. I've said it many times, and it's not my opinion. It's not an opinion. It's several surveys that have been done on tennis that show always the same. Those studies, it's studies that show that the average age of the tennis fan is 61 years old, and getting older every year, which just shows that it's basically the fan base that gets older. So not many new people becoming tennis fans. Second serve for Shelton, and that's very smart. Seeing that Casper is really way back to return, he decides to serve and volley even on second. And so far, Ben has won 25 out of his 26 points played at the net. And court level tennis actually is a funny name, considering your comment that asks if seeing tennis from a ground level would be more or less interesting than from a high TV angle. I've always said that I love the camera being lower because you realize way more how fast the game is. The only thing is you don't want the players to obstruct the view. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that when you watch on TV, you realize how fast and explosive that sport is. Second serve return missed by Ruud, and still in this fourth set, 100% of points won by Shelton on his own serves, which is crazy. And an ace to finish up the game. Same scenario since set 2, 3, and 4 so far. Shelton winning his service game so comfortably, almost not dropping a point, and Ruud under huge pressure on his own serves because he can't afford to lose it. But coming back to this Twitch account, my goal is again to do things differently, which it was always my mindset. And explore what hasn't been done, can be done, and can be super exciting for the fans. Big mistake for Ruud, again, being really on his heels, hitting that forehand that was short. And now a backhand mistake from Shelton. And Casper, who was so successful when he was coming to the net in the first set, now is struggling. That was a good response from Ben Shelton, hitting the ball really hard and low under the net, forcing Shelton to volley high. And then a second one with his own backhand on the body, low, forcing the mistake. Again, 15-30 on his serve for Ruud. Oh, too good. Great return from Shelton, fast on the backhand of Ruud, who just could lift the ball up. And then Shelton runs around his backhand and hits a forehand inside in. Winner. Another 2 break points for the American. A good serve to save the first one. Another break point to save. It's going to be a second serve. Danger. What is Ben going to do? Is he going to be very aggressive or more conservative? Oh yeah, that's too good. Excellent. A return, not that bad, but a bit short from Shelton. Fast and short, and Ruud hits a forehand inside-out winner. A forehand mistake from Shelton, and a game point now for Ruud. How many break points in this set so far? 4 for Ben Shelton. And if I look at all sets, 9. And he made... has a low percentage of points won on break points. Ben Shelton, 2 out of 9, which is a 22%. So far, he's been very conservative on the break points, and now a backhand unforced error on the second serve return for Shelton. 3-2 Ruud in that fourth set. Yes, I agree that Ruud has a great mindset. One of those guys who, at the end of his career, will be able to say, I have no regrets. I did everything I had to do, and I fulfilled my potential. Same as probably players like Dominor, who's the second one who comes to my mind. Who else? I mean, of course, Sinner, no doubt. Tommy Paul, same. Medvedev, Zverev. Zverev might have a regret if he doesn't win a Grand Slam, but I mean, can't say that the guy doesn't do everything he can. And I wanna answer one comment from Ruud saying that UTS was the best invention on tennis business you've seen so far. First of all, thank you, because that's a tennis league that I created in 2020 during the pandemic, where players were available to play, but there was no more tournaments. And I thought it's time to do something for tennis. Let's use that moment that is a tough moment for everyone to create something and do something positive. And that's when I created UTS. So what is UTS? For those who don't know, it's a new version of tennis. So we play with the best players in the world. I've been doing UTS tournaments, which is a tennis league. So like the ATP, there are points and there is a world champion at the end of the season. We do 4 to 5 events per year in various countries. We went to New York, we went to LA, we went to Hong Kong, Guadalajara, London, Frankfurt, Nîmes in the south of France. And it's a fast and furious version of tennis, where the time is set, like in football, between 32 and 40 minutes max. It's not the score who decides the length of the match, but it's the time. It's 4 quarters of 8 minutes, and it gets a little longer only if the players are 2 quarters each. Then there is what we call sudden death. Great shot from Shelton. Ruud returned volley. That was bold, but he needed 2 shots to pass. Shelton needed 2 shots to pass him. Return backhand down the line. Great one, by the way. The volley is too average. He could have done better. And he gets passed by a forehand cross-court winner of Shelton. Yeah, so way faster. We count the points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each player wins a quarter. I mean, what I mean is there is a winner at every quarter. 40-30 for Ben Shelton. That's the first service game that is more difficult. 15 seconds only between every point. We were the first one to have the coaches on the court during the matches. Before we did this, before the Australian Open, of course. I'm happy it inspired the Australian Open. There is a DJ with music between every point. It's a bit crazy, but it's amazing. We have a lot of success. In Nîmes last year, we filled up 12,500 seats center court, which is an antique stadium, old from 2,000 years old, and we're gonna go back actually to Nîmes this year in April. Only one serve, yeah. No, we got rid of the aces and serve winners to focus more on the rallies. And out of the top 100, 17 players out of the top 100 have participated into UTS. Actually, those two players, Casper, Ruud, played many times. Ben Shelton played also, of course. Yeah, you can check out on Instagram. We have a UTS account. It's called UTS Tour. Love 15 on Ruud's serve, and it's going to be a second serve. It's a double fault. I mean, still so much under pressure. Casper on his serves. Love 30. This point is very important. Can give 3 break points in a row for Casper for Ben. It's going to be another first serve. This one touched the net. Yeah, Nick is the poster child for UTS. He was supposed to play 4 times, pulled out 3, played 1. So far, he struggled with injuries so much in the last 2 years. And Bublik loves it, as you can imagine. Very good serve out wide for Casper. But you see that even this serve out wide that was so efficient in the first set is less now because he was finding a very short angle. Now he's serving it way deeper. And Gaël Monfils, great UTS player. He won the one in New York, by the way. That's true. Yeah. That's a big mistake from Casper Ruud on this very high forehand down the line of Shelton. And that gives the American 2 more break points. Again, 2 in a row. Like in the previous service game of Ruud, definitely struggles on each of his service games. Good slice serve, good forehand down the line. Amazing defense from Shelton. And the rally starts again. Yeah, a mistake from Shelton, but I feel that when the ball is really with a lot of spin and quite high on his backhand, Ben Shelton is struggling. Now Ben is dominating this rally, he's the one dictating. And he makes it with the backhand, fast and deep on the forehand of Ruud. And the break is done, 2-1 for Ben Shelton and 4-3 break. That's a huge option in that match because for the last 2 sets, the American is almost untouchable on his own service games. Yeah, and as iMumbo is saying it, and I really subscribe, Shelton is stepping in, and that makes the difference, definitely. For 2 reasons. First of all, because when you step in, you take time away from the opponent. And it looks, I mean, 1 step maybe feels like it's not much. It's huge in terms of time taken to the opponent. Huge. Second, when you move forward, even 1 step, look at my body weight. It goes forward. So naturally, it will go through the ball, which will make a big difference in terms of shot quality. Most of the mistakes that players do is because their body weight is going backwards once or sideways when they contact the ball. When you step in, you limitate the chances that this happens because you throw your body weight by moving forward. You throw your body weight forward, so it continues naturally his course forward. So that's why it's so important. That makes a huge difference. Ben Shelton to serve for a potential 5-3 lead and 2-1 in that match. And a forehand mistake down the line. We have a statistic to share to explain how dominant, to confirm how dominant Ben Shelton is on his serves. And here it is. So that's the number. I mean, it's just saying that the aces and serve winners multiplied number of shots to play after the serve. only 4 shots out of 8 on first serve. So 4 times out of 8, he doesn't need to play a shot. On second serve, 4 times out of 6. And in that 4th set, Ben won 12 out of the 14 points he played on his serve, which is huge. But what I can tell you is that Ruud wins only 56% of the points on his first serve. And that's very low. And a serve and volley on second serve for Shelton. I think his team told Casper to move back on the serve, and now because of the slice, he's so far out of the court on both deep and on the side. He's missing, and he says, I can't do anything from that position. I received a message from my team. And it's a good point. I think what Shelton did in that match is amazing. He was really dominated. He lost 6-3 the first set. There were a lot of things missing, and the reaction was incredible. And it can be compared with Alcaraz sometimes. When he has the downs, he's dominated, he's missing, and suddenly something clicks, and he does literally this, which is actually a motion I did a few times in that match to show how much from that position Ben is able to go to that position in terms of level of play. And that's really rare, because when he does this in a lot of matches, there is no more option for the opponent. So when Ben is playing his best, not many players can handle it. And it has to do with the energy that he has at every moment. And same with Carlos. When Alcaraz has the right energy, like the level he plays is so much above the level of any other that he's winning most of the points. And same for Ben Shelton. Another double fault for Ruud, who's trying to, go close to the lines to avoid the aggression of Ben Shelton. And I'm not being sarcastic, but there is always, in every negative situation, a positive one. If he ends up losing his match, he's going to be in time home to see the birth of his first child, and I know how important it is for him. And another time that Ruud is at the net and ends up losing the point, 30-all. Because of the pace of the shots of Shelton, he can't handle it, the passing shots. And a game point for Ruud. If he makes it, I think he's going to go T. He went T, but the ball was out. If he makes it, I'll answer Aimumbo about the problems that he or she faces in the matches. And he made it 5-4. Tough to win, but he won it. And now Ben Shelton, in a few minutes, is going to serve for the match. So Aimumbo is saying that when I step in my amateur matches, I guess, the opponent slaps a winner back at me. What am I doing wrong? I think my ball is not heavy enough and maybe he has too much pace. Well, I don't think that's the explanation. So first of all, a typical mistake from players who are not used to step in and suddenly step in. They feel they have to do more. They have to hit the ball flatter, faster, take a higher risk. No, not at all. Of course, if you're really much inside the court and you have an open space, go for it. But if you're inside the court, you have to play exactly the same as if you were behind the baseline. If you play flat and the opponents hit a winner, is because you play too short. There is nothing easier than to play a flat shot which has no quality, because the only thing it has is pace, that is short. But a fast deep ball is extremely difficult to handle for anyone. So first of all, don't try to overplay when you are inside the court. Just play, that's enough. And second, if you play flat, which you can, look for depth. Serve and volley for Shelton, who wins the first point of this game, of his service game, serving for the match. For those who don't remember, a great serve again, body serve for Shelton, 30 love. It's going to be another first serve because this one hit the top of the net, but it was in. Another great serve from Ben Shelton, no return in, and 40 love once again. This serve went 228 kilometers per hour, and 3 match points in a row for the American. Yes, Aimumbo hit deeper. Depth is a killer in tennis. And that's it. You've done it. 3-6, 6-4, 6-3, 6-4 win for Ben Shelton, who qualifies for the quarterfinals here and who will play against Jannik Sinner. There were 2 matches in one. The first set totally dominated by Casper Ruud. But once Ben got it right, started to make less unforced errors, more first serves in, more, I would say, intention in every stroke, stepping in, then there was no more match, no more chance. Ben winning all these service games really easily, and Casper struggling on each of them. Also, Casper get tighter because he felt that he had to win his service game every time, so that really completely changed the match. One thing that is interesting, the top seeds in both the women's and the men's singles have reached the quarterfinal at a Grand Slam event for the first time in the Open era. That's crazy. Now that we know all the quarterfinalists of this Australian Open, let me remind you who's going to play against who. I'm going to start with the top of the draw. Next round in the quarterfinals, we'll have Alcaraz against Dominor. We'll have Zverev against Tin. We'll have Musetti against Djokovic. And Shelton against Sinner. How good is that? Okay, what about the women? Top side of the draw, Sabalenka against Jovic. Gauff against Svitolina. Pegula against Anisimova. And Rybakina against Swiatek. 2 revelations, also 2 young guns that are super promising who are in quarterfinals. On the men's side, we have Leonard Tin, who I think is really an unbelievable player, lefty. And on the women's side, we have Iva Jovic, the American, who's also a huge potential and only 18 years old. Thank you very much. That was, as always, a big pleasure. We have a nice, beautiful winner, American, very exciting player who's now in the quarterfinals. I wish you a great night if you're in Australia or in the US. It's still night. A great day if you're in Europe. And I see you for the next round for tomorrow for, the top part of the draw. Alcaraz, Dominor, and Zverev Tin. Bye-bye.